I was surprised when Jessica and Andy shared with me about buying a resale HDB flat a while ago. You see, Jessica and Andy are a young couple in their late 20s, newly engaged, earning above average salaries. It wasn't because they couldn't afford a condo. It was because they looked at the numbers and they felt that they could generate better returns on their cash if they opted for a cheaper resale HDB. So today, I want to talk about this. Why are young couples thinking this way, and is this a right move? In what scenario will buying into a resale HDB be a wise choice in 2026? And what is it about today's market that makes such a move a possible risky one? If you are new here, welcome to my channel. Here on Real Deals with Will, I share real stories about property moves here in Singapore. So let's start with why young couples are even considering this move in the first place. The most obvious reason is the high prices. A decent-sized two-bedder condo unit in a reasonable location is easily touching $1.5 to $1.8 million. When we add in the buyer's stamp duty, legal fees and renovation costs, you're looking at a total commitment that's very close to $2 million. Now, for a young double-income, no-kids couple, both working in good jobs, that is not an impossible number. But the question that this new generation of young buyers are asking themselves is this the best use of their money? And for a growing number of them, the answer is no. Here's what is different about young couples today compared to, say, 15 years ago. With the acceleration of technology and abundance of information online, our younger friends today are financially literate in a way that previous generations were not. They are not just putting money in fixed deposits on Singapore stocks. They are actively building investment portfolios in US equities. They are also trading crypto and earning good money from it. Some are even running side hustles that generate real income. They are a new generation who are more financially savvy and genuinely understand opportunity costs. They understand that every dollar you put into a property down payment is $1 that's not working for you somewhere else. Now, let's work through the numbers and see if this resale HDB approach makes sense. Let's take for example that Jessica and Andy are looking to buy their own stay in the Toa Payoh area. Let's assume that they saw this 4-room HDB flat at 1,001 square feet going for $998K. If we find a condo which is similar in size, age, and in the same area, the cheapest option available is this unit at Gem Residences going for 1.888 mil. Let's also put in the assumption that Jessica and Andy will be using 100K of CPF for the down payment and the rest of the down payment by cash. I have also included the fixed cost of buyer's stamp duty, legal fees, and the assumption of doing up 80,000 worth of renovation in the event that they buy either the HDB or the condo. In this case, we can see that the total upfront cash for the HDB will be $257,000 and the total upfront cash for the condo will be slightly doubled at $512,000. Now, let's assume property prices move in the same annual rate of 3%, and this will determine the possible selling price after a 5-year holding period. After netting off the loan balance and the necessary costs, we arrive at a net ROI of negative 6.5% for the HDB approach and 29.8% for the condo approach. When we back calculate the returns on the spare cash required to match the condo returns, the spare cash needs to be able to generate an annual return of at least 6.7% to make this HDB approach worthwhile. Jessica and Andy shared that their net returns of their other investments is averaging 10% annually. So in this case, they will probably be better off going off with the resale HDB approach, assuming that they can consistently generate that 10% average return over the next 5 years. And this is exactly why going with the resale HDB route makes sense for Jessica and Andy at this point of time. Oh, by the way, if you're also considering between a resale HDB and a resale condo, I've created this calculator where you can just key in your numbers and you can get a sense of how much returns you need to generate in order for this resale HDB move to make sense. Scan the QR code below and WhatsApp me with the word resale HDB calculator and I will send it to you. What I just shared will definitely work if the couple are financially savvy and can consistently generate good returns from their other investments. However, I also want to spend some time sharing what are the possible risks of buying into a resale HDB in today's market. The risk I want to discuss about is the exit plan. What happens when you eventually want to sell, especially if life plans change and you want to explore entering the private property market down the road? If this sharing so far has been interesting, please help to click on the subscribe button on YouTube, and I'll be grateful for your support. Let me explain why the decision to buy a resale HDB matters much more in 2026. Right now, in 2026, Singapore is experiencing what we call a MOP wave. MOP, as we all know, stands for Minimum Occupation Period, the 5 years that HDB flat owners must live in their flats before they can sell it on the open market. And the numbers here are genuinely significant starting from this year. In 2025, about 6,970 HDB flats reached their MOP. This year, that number nearly doubles to 13,480 flats, a 93% increase in a single year. And it does not stop there. In the years ahead, the number of MOP flats in the market are expected to increase even further, based on the last few years of BTO flat supply. What this means in practice is that the resale HDB market is about to be flooded with supplies in the years to come. And that wave is concentrated in some of Singapore's most sought-after estates, such as Punggol, Queenstown, Tampines, Toa Payoh, and Bidadari. And when a large number of newer, well-located flats suddenly become available for sale, what will happen to the bargaining power of sellers of older resale HDB flats? Buyers have more choices, competition among sellers increases, resale HDB flats are going on the market for the third or fourth time might face some challenges. And this is something that directly affects you if you are a double income no kid couple. Thinking about having a resale HDB flat today will plan to eventually upgrade to a private property. This is what I mean when I say that the exit matters more than the entry. So think carefully before you go into a resale HDB flat today. It's easy to buy any property, but the exit strategy is always a tricky one. And this is the question that every couple considering a resale HDB flat in today's market need to ask themselves honestly. If our plan is to eventually upgrade to a private property, will I be able to sell this flat at a good price with a healthy buyer pool at the time that I want to sell? Or will I find myself competing with a wave of newer, longer lease flats in a market where buyers have more choices than sellers? The next question is about the price growth of HDB flats. HDB prices saw the slowest growth in Q4 2025 at 0% growth. And looking at the price index chart of the HDB resale flats, a similar pattern seems to be forming. The government itself has acknowledged that this is what they intend to do. National Development Minister Chee Hong Tat has stated directly that expanding pipeline of flats reaching MOP, combined with the strong BTO supply, is expected to moderate resale price growth in the years ahead. When the minister says this publicly, you better take it seriously, because it tells you that the official policy is orientated towards keeping resale prices in check. The factor that drove resale HDB prices up sharply between 2020 and 2023 was primarily a supply shortage due to COVID. That supply shortage is being systematically addressed by the Ministry of National Development and HDB, and I must say they have done a decent job on this. So put it all together, you have a near doubling of MOP flats entering the market in 2026. We have more and more BTO flats launching in 2026 itself, with more coming up in the years ahead. We have government policies explicitly aimed at moderating resale price growth. If you are buying a resale HDB flat today with the expectation that it will appreciate strongly and be easy to sell at a good profit when you want to upgrade, you need to seriously consider and stress test that assumption against this supply reality. Now, I want to be completely objective over here, because I said at the start that I'm not here to tell you resale HDB is a bad move. I genuinely believe that it can be the right move for the right couple in the right situation, but the circumstances matter enormously. Here are the questions I think you need to answer honestly before you commit to a resale HDB in 2026. First, are you buying this flat to stay in it long term, potentially forever, regardless of whether the prices go up or down? If yes, if you genuinely see this as your forever home, if upgrading to a private property is not part of your plan, if you're optimizing for livability and financial prudence rather than capital appreciation through property, then many of the risks I've described above are significantly less relevant to you. A well-located flat with a good remaining lease, bought at a sensible price in a mature estate, that is fundamentally a decent place for your housing needs and for you to grow your family in the decades ahead. Your monthly costs will be manageable, and your free up capital can definitely work harder for you in other forms of investments that you're probably good at. That is a coherent strategy. But if there's even a reasonable probability that you'll want to upgrade to a private property in the future, say within the next 5 to 10 years, then you need to think very carefully about the exit dynamics I've just described. Because the window where you can sell a resale HDB strongly into a healthy buyer pool with limited competition from newer flats, that window is surely but slowly narrowing. Secondly, consider what is the remaining lease on the flat that you are thinking of buying today, and how does that affect both your CPF usage and your future buyer's CPF usage when you eventually decide to sell. Run this calculation before you go with a resale HDB flat. Go to the CPF calculator on the CPF board website, put in the lease remaining and the age of the youngest buyer. Understand the restrictions that your future buyers will face on CPF usage, and consider the size of this buyer's pool when you decide to sell. Thirdly, how confident are you in your alternative investment strategy? This is important because the financial case for resale HDB over a condo is built on one core assumption, that the money you save by choosing HDB over a private property will be deployed productively elsewhere. Are you able to consistently beat the market and generate double-digit returns? What happens when factors outside your control affects the financial markets? Are you able to bring it back and get back to a positive return on your investment? Now, let me close with a summary, because I want every video to be useful and practical for you. Buying a resale HDB today can still be a smart and sound move. The lower entry cost, the more manageable monthly mortgage, and the capital efficiency advantage, these are real things. And for a couple with no kids, with a strong investment discipline and a genuine long-term horizon on staying in the flat, this approach has genuine merit. But 2026 is a specific and important moment in the HDB market cycle. The supply picture is changing in a structural way. If your plan is to use a resale HDB as a medium-term stepping stone, buy it, live in it for 5 to 7 years, sell it at a profit, and use the proceeds to upgrade into a condo, that plan deserves very careful scrutiny right now. Because the market dynamics that made HDB resale flats grow amazingly between 2020 and 2024 are shifting in real time. The resale HDB option is not a bad choice, but it is not a risk-free one either. And in 2026 specifically, the exit risk deserves more weight in your decision than it would have even been 2 or 3 years ago. This is the honest conversation I want to have with you today, and I'll see you in the next one.